Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Ben, and today I actually probably have one of my most requested videos that I've ever had for the channel, which is really exciting as it is the busiest I think I've ever been with making videos, especially around tech. And obviously we are in the season of new consoles. So in this video, I wanted to do both an unboxing, my first thoughts and first impressions of 72 hours of the new Xbox Series X. This fantastic, gigantic, matte black piece of hardware is absolutely amazing. So let's deep dive into why I think so. Okay, so the unboxing, I have done an actual video of me unboxing the box, but I just kind of wanted to go through and highlight basically instead of going through all of it. In terms of obviously what you get with your Xbox, you do get the Xbox Series X, and it is incredibly well presented. I was really impressed with how Microsoft have gone about and kind of gone Apple-esque with getting their Series X out in the world. Also included with the Xbox is obviously your power cable, and also really importantly a HDMI 2.1 cable, which is definitely needed for your high-end TVs, but we'll come into that a little bit later. You also get your Xbox Series X controller. Very, very similar to last generation's controller, which is really difficult for Xbox and Microsoft because they did such a great job with the last gen console and controller. It's almost just a continuation of that with slight improvements. Now, I've actually been able to get my Xbox as part of the All Access page, but I couldn't actually tell in the box that it knew until I turned it on, which came up in the setup. In terms of what you actually get with the Xbox, it is pretty clean, it's pretty minimal, but it is exactly what you need to get going and gaming on your brand new 4K TVs. Okay, so there is an incredible amount of information already out there in terms of the tech specs of the Xbox. So I'm not going to go into how many teraflops this has, what processor it has. All that information is readily available. What you need to know are probably two things. This is the most powerful console ever made, and it's more powerful than the PS5. One huge advantage that it also has is more usable space on its incredibly quick SSD. Now the PS5 SSD is actually quicker, but you are also losing almost 200 gig of space, which pretty much equates to a Call of Duty game. On the Xbox, you do boot this up and you get 800 gigs of usable space and that expansion port for the 1TB Seagate hard drive, which could, with some of these games and this file size, be very, very useful in the future. Another huge thing to consider with this Xbox is the television that you're plugging it into. If you have a 4K TV from the past, probably if it's more than a year old, the likelihood is you're going to get 4K 60 frames a second out of this. The reason for that is the new HDMI standard, so HDMI 2.1. That is really, really important for both 8K eventually, if we get it, which unless you already have an 8K TV, it doesn't really matter. But the more important thing is actually 4K at 120 frames a second. Some games are already supporting it, so games like Destiny, I think Call of Duty is doing something, Gears of War have 120 frames in multiplayer, and Dirt 5 in some of their performance modes. So it's really important to know if your TV has that, because if not, like my TV will be running at 60 frames, which this is incredible at running at. Other important information with your Xbox is, well, this is more of an evolution of the Xbox and the Xbox kind of One family. It actually has the ability to connect with all of your Xbox One accessories. I think this is a huge thing. It's clearly from Microsoft's PC sort of background that you're actually able to kind of bring your special edition controllers and anything like that, or the Elite controller like I have. You're able to just bring it, it works, no fuss whatsoever. So how did I find setting up the Xbox Series X? Well, actually it was really easy. Once I actually got it plugged in and gave it about a minute to turn on, once it was actually up and running and I found my Wi-Fi password, using the app, it just does everything for you. You log into your accounts, and if you're previously from an Xbox, it actually just brings all the information and it kind of already looks like your Xbox. If you're setting up for the first time, I can't imagine this is going to take more than 5 minutes, which for a console setup and anything like that really, I think is really impressive. Microsoft have really thought through how to get you gaming as quickly as possible, so really impressed. With any new tech nowadays, obviously one thing that does come along with it is day one updates or just console updates in general whenever you're able to pick up your Xbox. It was about 750 megabytes at the time. My internet connection is quite quick, so this didn't really take much time at all, but it is something to consider. So if you are booking the day off, maybe do it the day after you pick up your Xbox. So obviously, it's a gaming console. What is the most important thing about a gaming console? Well, it's games. I was able to get the Xbox on their new offering of All Access. This basically concludes of paying a monthly fee for 2 years for the Xbox Series X, but also Xbox's Game Pass. Actually, looking over a 2-year period, it actually works out cheaper to do it this way than to buy the Xbox in cash and then Game Pass separately. I think this is something that Xbox are really going to do well with in this console generation. It's great value. With Game Pass, you get access to over 100 games. It is actually quite incredible. And as of the launch day a few days ago, EA Play is also included. So that's some of the new Star Wars games. Obviously games like FIFA, Madden, and the Need for Speed series are all just included for you to download and play straight away. An awful lot of these games, even if they're not optimized for the new Xbox, they run the best that they've ever been able to run. Playing some games like Formula 1 2019, which is included with Game Pass, wasn't necessarily like optimized for Series X, but it was a Xbox One X game running at 4K. Now it just runs at a constant 60 frames a second, and I have to say, from playing this game for hundreds of hours, this is easily the best I've ever seen this game. And that's not even optimized, it's just using the raw power of the Xbox to play it. Games like Forza 7, again, an Xbox One X enhanced game, but this now running 60 frames a second, again, it just looks and plays amazingly. Games that have been optimized, you can be able to see it with a little S and X, means they've been optimized to try and use more of the power of those consoles. So Gears of War 5 and Forza Horizon 4, these games look insane. Playing Gears of War, genuinely I was shocked at how good that looked, and even on my slightly older just 4K TV, it's not OLED, it's nothing crazy like the new LG displays, this was insane and it was really impressive. The way that I look at All Access and kind of Game Pass in general, really, when it comes to the exclusives which we'll get kind of going into next year, I totally understand getting this console now. It's probably a little bit premature. The games that are really going to take advantage of the new Xbox power is next year. But the way I look at it, if I enjoy 2 or 3 of those games in the next year or so, with the price of a 50, 60, even £70 game, within the entire scope of things, actually you just don't have to get use of 2 or 3 games through the year to actually get the value out of it. As a gamer, somebody who wants to go between different genres, I'm not kind of like geared and focused on just one specific game type. All Access is an incredible value and amazing offering from Microsoft. I also think if you look at the whole generation, maybe for the next 5, 6, 7 years, I think with Xbox and Microsoft buying Bethesda, this could be the generation where a lot of people start to go back to Xbox. But the PlayStation is also amazing, so I'm not going to complain. On that topic, if you are just a fan of third-party games, so Assassin's Creed, FIFA, Call of Duty, the likes of NBA, in reality, the PS5 and the Xbox, they're going to be slightly different in terms of power, with the Xbox being more powerful, and with the PS5 having slightly different variants with the controller. But ultimately, they're going to be very, very, very similar experiences, and it's probably more where your friends are that is going to be a deciding factor in picking up one of the two consoles. Along with the ability of it as a games console, it's also an incredible media center. Apps like Apple TV have been added to this generation, as well as the PlayStation. You also have 4K Netflix, YouTube, and that incredible 4K Blu-ray player if you enjoy getting discs still. It also has things like Dolby Atmos for headphones and speakers as part of its offering, and it's something that is actually quite incredible to listen to on a really good pair of gaming headphones. Overall, 72 hours with the Xbox, I've been really impressed playing some of the older games. Yes, those new games aren't out yet, but I think as a tech fan, picking this up at day one, you kind of understand that that's not going to happen straight away. and I'm really excited to see what this is like over the next year. I almost think kind of reviewing an Xbox and the PlayStation kind of on day one is almost a little bit redundant. We know that the hardware of these is insane, and we always knew that that was going to be the case. So you really have to think, okay, maybe look at over a 2-year period and think what games are coming out for both consoles over 2 years, which ones are you more interested in, and then maybe go for that. Overall, I'm really happy that I've picked up the Xbox, but also I have got the PS5 on order for us in the UK. Will be coming next week. So remember to subscribe below to check out what I also think of the PlayStation 5, which I think I'm going to also enjoy. Overall, if you are thinking of picking up an Xbox, if you're really wanting to, you're not going to be disappointed when you plug this into your TV or monitor. It is an insane piece of hardware with great accessory support and a huge amount of titles available on Game Pass. But let me know your thoughts. Have you been able to pick one up? Are you really struggling to get one? And if you have any thoughts, questions, or want me to check out any games specifically, let me know in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. On that note, I'm going to go plug this back in, so we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.